Namaste. Tom Cruise, one of the famous Hollywood actors, stated something significant few years back. He said, "I wish everybody on earth had enough richness, name and fame so that they could understand that all these things cannot buy true happiness." Yes, all these factors that we use to motivate a person to be successful in life, for instance, telling him to be oriented, focused, hardworking, passionate, somehow fail to help him when he is about to decide to give up on life. Yes, we are today going to talk about something that has recently picked up a lot of interest all over the world. After the very famous Bollywood actor Sushant Singh committed suicide, all of them started wondering what really intimidated him to take such an adverse step. Today, let's try to just focus on something more important. How is that all of us in this society are part of this loop, are part of this vicious cycle? Yes, you, me, and all of us are indirectly contributing to somebody who is sensitive-minded, somebody who's probably too vulnerable to face certain intense challenges or struggles of life. In fact, we all know that we have been trained and programmed appropriately and adequately by our parents with regard to our physical body. We are told to brush our teeth as soon as we get up, to discard waste of the body, to comb our hair, to wear a specific sort of dress. But our society, our mentors, or even our education system is somewhere failing to train us appropriately to discard the waste of mind as well. Yes, waste of mind. I'm sure some of you are wondering, what is this waste of mind is all about? We are all running so hard in this rat race. We are so worried about meeting that specific target. We are tensed about competition and whatnot. All these waste, if not discarded appropriately, can in turn affect our mental and physical well-being. In fact, most of us do not know that this is as important as feeding food to our physical body. If we don't take enough time out to feed the energy to the mind, if we don't take enough time to cleanse the energy patterns in our thinking, this can definitely lead into further complications. Today, let us understand this at a deeper level. Now, have a look at this model here. This pyramidal structure is trying to explain a specific hierarchy with which any parent usually trains the child. Usually, they tend to explain the child that you got to achieve these short-term goals, later which you got to achieve another thing, and then your ultimate destination is so and so. But it's very unfortunate that some of the parents train their children to achieve the ultimate goal as something that's self-centered and self-oriented. For instance, comparing the child with cousins or relatives and motivating the child to be a millionaire like cousin or relative or probably the neighbor, or even intimidating the child to achieve or buy some luxurious stuff like a car or an expensive watch or whatnot. In fact, I'm not denying that this isn't important. Of course, motivating the child to gain some better social status is okay, but if you teach the child that this is the ultimate destination, then after being obsessed with it, after probably even achieving it, there might be a big vacuum. After the child achieves that materialistic aspiration that's been programmed as if this is the ultimate destination, child will not have any further inspiration to sustain life. In fact, the same Bollywood actor Sushant once told in his previous interview that he hails from a very lower middle class family. So he had basic motivations in life like probably buying a rich car, a lavish bike, or probably a big bungalow in Bombay. He achieved all that. But later that, after achieving all that, he started feeling that emptiness in his heart. He didn't know what further can inspire him. Yes, we would have all gone through something like this in one point of time in our lives. In fact, very recently a lady came to my clinic. She was telling me that her husband was tormenting her for everything, particularly to meet the needs. He used to often say that since she's a housewife, she's worthless, and even made a big scene to even probably provide her with some basic amenities. Since she had 2 daughters, she had to now struggle and make it a mark and probably stand on her own feet to even give a good life in future to her daughters. She started working hard, she started earning her own bread, she even sponsored education to her daughters. Recently, her husband died. In fact, instead of being very happy and feeling relieved that such a person who was tormenting her all the time is no more, she was in a mode of deep depression. She came to me and started telling me that after her husband died, she had no motivational factor to prove. She was telling me that whom else can I prove that I can actually stand on my own feet? Whom else can I project my ego to? Yes, sometimes when your goal is extremely self-centered and narrow-minded, you will not actually find joy after a specific stage in life. So, what is the alternative? If you program the same child or program yourself with a bigger intention or a bigger social cause, the motivational drive is never ending. For instance, if you feed a dog on street, or probably if you help some beggar on street, you know what sort of an immense eternal bliss this brings to our heart, isn't it? So, if you have certain short-term objectives, which is even materialistic, it is okay. But if your ultimate goal or ultimate destination is connected with an universal cause, you will always be connected with that beautiful circle of unlimited joy and bliss, which is definitely eternal and something that can probably do some good to the earth at large. So friends, let's start rethinking on the programming that we all do to our own selves and even to our children. In fact, it is very unfortunate that some parents start programming their children right from the time that the child is in the womb. They start expecting a specific gender, a specific amount of fairness, probably also start aspiring that this is a profession that my child has to be in. So if the child is no way matching the expectation of the parents, then imagine what might be running in the child's mind. Even before coming out of the world, they have all these limitations. So what if I don't land up to that expectations? Will I be ever accepted? And this can lead into a lot of mental sensitivity and vulnerability. This is research proven as well. Well, our education system definitely needs amendment. I request the education system through this channel that kindly incorporate something that pertains to mind and emotions in our education system. The same Bollywood actor once told in his previous interview that when he was doing his engineering, he learnt a lot of sophisticated subjects. But once he passed out from there, once he came out from there, he understood that most of the subjects were outdated. He could no longer use those codes because the technology had definitely improvised or changed. So if we are giving so much of interest and attention to teach something that probably at a later stage, probably after a decade or two, gets outdated, why are we not giving adequate intention or interest to train that child to handle basic challenges of life? Why are we not teaching the child to how to handle criticism, how to handle failures, how to handle something where there could be a change of profession sometimes? Change of profession or change of certain circumstances can actually hold a large potential if there is acceptance. Failure of acceptance can lead into a lot of mental disorders. In fact, when we look back into the history, our mythological stories has given enough inspiration about acceptance. Lord Rama was about to become a king, but when he was thrown into a circumstance to go to the jungle, he didn't deny it. Look at Buddha. He was about to rule a big kingdom, but when he gracefully accepted what was coming to him, he has now turned out to be such a humongous inspiration to billions and billions of souls for meditation and spirituality. Acceptance is no bad thing. If somebody is unable to pursue something in the education that they have got or probably in the career that they wanted to make, it is absolutely normal to deviate. Look back at all those numerous examples where successful people have probably had some education, but then they deviated their field and they have made it big in another field that they chose as per what fate had for them. So we should never deny this power and potential of accepting what is coming in our way gracefully. In fact, every fraternity has their own amount or degree of stress, be it cinema or probably the police department, even housewives for that matter. In fact, most of the people who come to me for treatment are depressed because they are usually targeted thinking that they do not earn money, so they are useless. So likewise, there's every department who goes through enough amount of stress and anxiety. So it is my recommendation and suggestion that all of us in our own fraternity should probably make a community where we can get to discuss and talk about mind, where we can give some help to people who are vulnerable and sensitive. Well, cinema fraternity is definitely one of the best for this because they carry a sort of aura and charisma that probably the others fail to hold. People very easily get influenced by the statements that the cinema actors make. So I request the actors to talk about mind, about meditation, about the struggle they had. I'm sure all of you all take enough time out to propagate your cinema, to request people to do something good for the cinema industry. But if you can spare few minutes or few seconds to talk about how they were continuing to hold on to their courage, to make it big in their field, how they handle criticism, how they could handle all those innumerable challenges in life, that could definitely inspire a lot of people. In fact, I can go on talking about such things and go on giving a lot of examples. But here are a few useful tips that probably not just for people like you and me who are strong-minded, but vulnerable and sensitive people like Sushant can reap benefits from. The first very important thing is, please give importance to meditation and mental health. If you read autobiography of all those successful people or even hear them on their interviews, they give something called as power time that is set aside for themselves in the morning. The first thing that they do in the morning is to train their mind so that they can be very strong in handling adverse situations and circumstances when they come out in competition or business or whatever profession that they're choosing to do. So please set aside that power time for yourself every single day. Secondly, train your mind to gain happiness in subtle experiences of life. If you tell your mind that you're going to be happy at a later stage only when you get something big in life, even after you get something big, I don't think overnight you can train your mind to be happy. So please tend to get happier, blend your mind, accommodate it to become happy in all the subtle, beautiful experiences of life. Third most important thing is, your goal need not always be based on competition. Do not hold a scale and start comparing yourself with every Tom, Dick and Harry. Oh, that person has already gone abroad. This person has already got married. Oh, she's already having 2 kids. I'm married, but I don't yet have children. These competition cannot give you that innate bliss that you're looking out for. Your sole purpose is exclusive. Your goal could be probably planting few trees. Your goal could be probably helping old-aged people. So find out what is that exclusive thing that you are born here for, because you are an exclusive piece. The fourth most important thing is that we all have to watch on our behavior. Whenever we go to a social gathering or probably we are part of a community, let's not judge each other. Let's not project this ego that, haven't you yet got that much of salary? Look at me, I own this branded watch. Oh, look at my house. Are you still staying in rented house? What not? So stop judging people based on what they possess, and let's connect heart to heart and encourage people to lead a soulful, meaningful life. And the next most important thing is, do not be ashamed to seek help, please. If you're mentally perturbed and disturbed, if you have negative thoughts, that doesn't mean that you've gone mad. Please stop judging people like this. If you are feeling sensitive, stand up for yourself, ask for help, and please make it a point that you gain some strength by either talking to appropriate people or spending time the way you feel can strengthen your senses and give you that courage to face the sensitive circumstances of life. And last but not the least, I started this conversation with a famous quote. I would like to end it with the same. If you don't sweat enough in training, then you'll have to bleed in the war of life. Yes, let's train our mind so that we don't have to shed too much blood in the war of life. I hope this information was useful. Do stay tuned in. Next week, we're going to talk about another important tip on drugless therapy. Until then, please take care of your mind, meditate, and try to keep it as happy, as calm as possible. Thank you so much for watching.